Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
An increase in offensive production last night. What do you think led into that, and what were the reasons for it?
It's a good execution.
Anything beyond that? What your thoughts on Bailey's performance, and also what Zeke gave you?
Yeah. Well, again, offense is team performance. I mean, you got to block Watt, you got to block Hayward, you got to block it was Highsmith or Herbig and Orlando Roberts and all those guys, Fitzpatrick. I mean, so the skill guys had obviously the production, but the other guys had to block, get open, catch the ball, throw the ball, so forth. So it was a good team performance. We tried to keep Watt number one at bay. That was a priority in the game. He didn't ruin the game. And again, obviously the other guys that I mentioned, those assignments varied on who had them, but ultimately somebody had to do it. Bailey made some good throws. We scored in the red area, which was huge. Those were 7-point plays instead of field goals. And for the most part, our ball security offensively was good. We had a tip pass that made a good play on intercepted, and obviously the block punt. But offensively, ball security was good. Ball wasn't on the ground a lot. The ball was in our hands safely, and those are all fundamental things that need to be good for you to be successful.
Thank you.
Sure, Chris.
That's just a reminder to turn your camera on before asking a question. We're going to go Matt with Twitter, followed by Tyler Bronski.
Hey, Bill, has it been kind of special that you were able to have a Thursday game this week to allow you to have the full kind of Army-Navy experience with that game in your backyard? What's that mean to you to be able to kind of enjoy the whole thing without a game on Sunday?
Well, it's nice. I won't lie. It's nice. It's nice that the schedule fell the way it did. I would say most years it doesn't fall that way, but the fact that it did and coincided with the game being in Foxborough is nice. I haven't been able to attend an Army-Navy game like this since I was in college. Even the ones that I've seen, we had a game the next day, or in Giants Stadium, or the Washington game back in, I think it was 2009. So there've been a handful of games that I've seen, but always with having to go to a meeting or something like that. So this is really a nice luxury for me, and it's been a long time since I've had an opportunity to do this. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a great classic event for this region. There's really nothing like Army-Navy. I've been in a lot of big games, and I've seen a lot of big games, both collegiately and professionally. That Army-Navy is special.
Bill, there'll be people who are seeing this game live for the first time and maybe the only time in their lives. What would you tell them? Make sure they look for, make sure they notice, make sure that they to get that experience, whether it's some of the stuff before time or afterward. What is not to be missed?
Well, not to get overly dramatic, but look, when you go to the military, one of the military academies, you voluntarily agree and sign up to defend our country at all costs, including your life. And that's a voluntary decision, and a very important one. And so ultimately, these are the men and women that are going to lead our country in the coming years and decades. So the march on for the Corps cadets and the midshipmen is a pretty impressive thing. You look down and you see 4,000 men and women who are training to be our country's leaders and our country's defenders, in the future. And it's a pretty impressive moment to, recognize all those kids as they're going through the process and who they're going to be and what's going to come out of there. And the training that they're going through, it makes you very proud to see that. But the march on starts about 3 hours before the game, so I would recommend that for sure. And again, when you voluntarily take the oath to go to the Naval Academy or to go to West Point, you're not thinking about your future as an NFL player or whatever. You're thinking about your career as a military officer and fighting and defending our country. And football is part of it, but there's a bigger part of it for them. And football is a game, but they'll lay it all on the line, and that, as they should, and as they will, and as they will in future years of combat and engagement. So. That's I think that's what you're seeing, and the intensity of the game and how much it means to both academies it's a lot. It's really a lot. It's a game that'll be followed around the world. Every Army and Navy officer that's stationed wherever they're stationed will be watching or listening to the game or following the game, and there'll probably be some wagers and so forth on it in all points around the world. It's a very intently viewed, watched, and recognized, and every American has probably some connection to Army or Navy, through some family member or friend or whatever that served in one of those two branches, or they're associated with, like the Marine Corps and so forth. And so it's sometimes you have a regional game that you don't necessarily pick a side in, but I've learned through the years that everybody has a stake in Army or Navy, one way or the other. And so it's a national game that'll be followed worldwide, and there'll be a lot riding on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the question, Matt.
Next question, Tyler Bronski, followed by Ian Steele.
Bill, Jabril said after the game yesterday that the win was for you and the coaching staff because, frankly, he said he doesn't like some of the flack you have received at times this year. What does it mean to hear that from one of your players?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's great, but I would say the big thing for me is what I appreciate is what the players do every day, and whatever happens on Thursday night or Sunday is certainly in part a big reflection on what happens during the other days of the week, the preparation, the training, the resilience and determination to improve, to get things right, to make things better. And that's what I appreciate about our team, our players, our coaching staff, is that that's the attitude. That's the way they've approached things, and it's obviously a level of frustration with the overall season. But on a week-to-week basis, you kind of put that aside and focus on the week that you have, and I mean, other than two games, really, it's been so competitive every week, and certainly nice to be on the higher end of the score last night. But what I appreciate is the players and their effort and their commitment to doing what I and the coaching staff, we have asked them to do, and working hard on it and sacrificing, and it's obviously great to see them have that positive result.
Next question, Ian Steele, followed by Dakota Randall.
Morning, Bill. Going back to Army Navy. with respect to the tradition of the game, specifically this year, it's in your home stadium involving an academy in a place that you have spent years, two places that you've spent a lot of time.
Most
What
of
does
my
that
life.
mean? Right. What does that mean to you to have this full circle day tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a very unique opportunity that, as you said, is really a full circle, and I have a great appreciation for the Naval Academy, a great appreciation for this game, and it's a thrill for me that, you know, as you said, it's taking place in our stadium. So, and I look forward to the people I'm going to see, the classic event that it is, not just the game, but everything that leads up to it, starting with, you know, some events today and tonight, and hopefully culminating in a Navy win.
Next question, Dakota Randall, followed by Nick O'Malley.
Hey, Bill. I'm just wondering what you've seen from Mac Wilson lately. Just seems like he's been playing really well as of late.
Max had a really good year for us. He's had a really good year, and I think the additional, you know, time, familiarity with our, you know, with the defense, and has allowed him to. I mean, Mac's very athletic. He's a tremendous athlete, fast, explosive, very strong, and very talented player. But I think it's allowed him to play faster and aggressively. He's, you know, still has his full role in the kicking game. You know, has a big role on defense. Has emerged into the pass rush. You know, grouping on third down. You know, with a couple of the guys that we've lost there, and he's retained that through his performance, and I would say, you know, overall discipline and you know, communication and role in the defense. So, and you could say that about a lot of the guys too, but certainly he's had an outstanding year for us, and just continues to really get a little bit better every week, and it's great to see the growth and the production that he's had. But, you know, Jennings and, you know, Miles and guys like that, you know, Barmore's, you know, had a really good year. And then some, you know, a couple of the younger players, you know, like Keon, who obviously wasn't here last year, but, you know, his growth, his development, you know, those guys have really had an opportunity, and they've stepped in and taken advantage. And, you know, last night, you know, again, it wasn't a lot of plays, but, you know, Austin did a good job for us too in his first opportunity to, you know, gain some playing time. So, yeah, those are, you know, guys that have taken advantage of the opportunity that they have, not just on game day, but through preparation during the week and practice, and, you know, one-on-ones and other opportunities to continue to improve, get better, and then, you know, it's nice to see them have that kind of success, you know, on the field on a game day.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dakota, you're welcome.
Do two final questions, Nick O'Malley and Sophie Weller.
Hey, Bill. Based on the success from last night's game, is the plan moving forward to stick with Bailey as the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the future plans right now. You know, we have a little bit extra time this weekend. We'll kind of recalibrate things a little bit, but certainly Bailey's done a good job. He's earned playing time. But how exactly that'll go, you know, we'll talk about that. I'm not going to, you know, announce anything. But everybody will be ready to play, and when the players get a chance to play, then they'll have an opportunity to show they deserve more playing time, or maybe somebody, you know, moves ahead of them. So we'll see how it goes. But certainly he's done a good job in the two, you know, opportunities he's had to execute the offense. And again, as I said earlier, I don't think you can put it all on one guy, good or bad. It's a unit performance and a consistency, and certainly a quarterback's a big part of that. I'm not saying that, but you know, you got to have, you know, other people have to perform well in addition to that, and so our job and our goal is to get get the offensive unit performing well. That includes each player, but getting the entire unit performing well, and that's when we'll have success.
And are you going to encourage players and coaches to try and make it down to the game on Saturday?
Well, I think everybody's got their own schedule. There's certainly a lot of interest in the game. You know, all these guys, you know, with the exception of Cardona, you know, haven't played at Service Academy schools, so a lot of them are very interested in the kind of uniqueness of this game and obviously the magnitude of it, the build up and everything. I think everybody's kind of been, you know, caught up in it a little bit. These guys have played in a lot of big games in college and professionally. But as I said, this is a little bit different, and I think, you know, a lot of guys are getting a feel of it. They, you know, ask questions. I know Joe and I, you know, fielded a few Army Navy questions, and you can see you know, there's a little bit of divide on the team on, you know, who's for Army and who's for Navy. You know, everybody has their own loyalties, so you know, that also has been, you know, kind of interesting to see it unfold. But it's been an interesting, as the build up for the game has increased and peaked. It's been interesting to see the you know, player team reaction. You know, like you said, guys asking for tickets, guys want to know, you know, questions about the game and stuff like that. It's been kind of interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nick.
Last question, Sophie Weller.
Hi, Bill. I was just wondering, this is the second week in a row that you've elevated Malik Cunningham from the practice squad, but he hasn't taken any snaps. I was just curious what's gone into that decision and if Cunningham is serving as like a backup quarterback of sort.
Right. Well, you know, on the practice squad elevations, you know, most of the time, those are involved depth on your roster, whether that's, you know, in the kicking game or offensively or defensively, whatever the position happens to be. And if you don't need that depth in the game, then sometimes those players don't get an opportunity. So, for example, yesterday we elevated Kevin Harris, and Kevin had a good week of practice, and you know, had Kevin gotten an opportunity to play, I know he would have been ready to play, and I would look forward to seeing him play. But you know, Zeke was going well, and so you know, we stayed with Zeke. You know, then a few passing downs where you know, Ty was in there, but we stuck with Zeke. So Kevin didn't get to play either. You know, same situation as Malik. But you know, again, sometimes those opportunities come in bunches or come in a high number of plays, and sometimes they don't. But ultimately, it's not about, you know, trying to get players plays and playing time, and it's about trying to win the game and try to do its best for the team. And you know, if something had happened to Zeke last night, we would have needed, you know, somebody to play all those plays at running back. And Kevin would have been a big part of that, but you know, it just didn't turn out that way. So yeah. So again, for Malik, it's really, and everybody else, all the practice squad players, it's about, you know, taking advantage of the opportunity to prepare, to be active, and then when those opportunities come, to take advantage of them. But you know, we can't control those, and it's not a, you know, it's not a preseason game where you allocate playing time to certain individuals at certain points in time. You competitively try to win the game, and that's what we try to do. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. I enjoyed that game this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone. And just a reminder to the media.